I'm just trying to think through like what I like about the different systems better than what are their strengths and weaknesses. So for me, Sellswords. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You were getting ready to answer. Go ahead.
I love the Sellswords. The whatever that guy's name is, Andre, whatever his name is. Yeah. I love I'm gonna gamble that everybody's gonna go, and I roll my dice.
Right.
And then the Sellswords thing of you fouled up, well then they go. I really like that, especially when you're playing solo.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like how the characters are built here better.
So you definitely
this
have more stats here to play with.
Yeah, and it feels more like I have a character and less like I'm moving this is more RPG, that's more minis.
Yeah. And it is more like in Sellswords, they're almost like archetypes. Like you're moving
a chess piece.
Or maybe a chess piece. I wouldn't say chess piece because it doesn't feel that bland to me.
But
you only have a certain number of stats. So you're moving a warrior of some strength here.
Yeah. And
you don't have a lot of different variation in
right, and you're starting to customize this guy, and you're like, oh, I want my guy to be an archer, and he's really good, so I'm going to... Like, at first, he's pretty well-rounded, right? My guy's almost all hand-to-hand, but you could do whatever you want. And I like this better. But I love that activation piece.
That's the part I really like about too, is that this is very much like an I go, you go.
Yeah.
It's, your rangers move, then the bad guys move, then your companions move, and it just like keeps rotating through that again and again. But with the rolling and the cards, like stuff is it's much more fluid. Stuff is happening, unexpected stuff is happening much more often where guys are moving when you're hoping they aren't. They're popping up from behind stuff all the time. A lot more surprises, a lot more sort of tension is my experience of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you guys think. You guys have played both as well?
I haven't played Spellswords. We played once. I don't remember that time. Yeah. But this one, because we only used maybe a quarter of the things on our sheet, it really is move, roll 20-sided die to attack, right? And there's very little decision making except when to blow your cooldowns, right? Your little heroic abilities. That was the interesting part. Like, should I use it or should I save it? Yeah. There's other games. I've played some Fantasy Flight things, which are similar, where it's like a cooperative dungeon crawl. And there's a lot more little things that you can tweak. Little abilities, or you have fatigue that you can blow. And there's a lot more interactive pieces within the room. Right. And a lot more variety of bad guys and the way they coordinate and everything. Yeah. So this might have just been a set of scenarios with just the gnolls that didn't really show off a variety of things to interact with. So it's kind of hard for me to judge after just one night.
I really got to get to this next piece.
All the scatter was just terrain. It just is like a modifier on your movement or a modifier on your shooting score. You couldn't interact with it. It didn't do anything.
You could have done something like the armory. If they're next to the armory, they can pick up a weapon, so they get +2 to their attacks. Or the torture room. The screams of the guy, you just make a will check, or you lose an action, or if you get half speed. Right? There's little things you could do to make each room different, but to me, it felt like all these rooms were very similar.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a result, you're right. It doesn't have as much flavor as you want it to have.
Right.
Well, is Rangers set up to be solo play?
Yes. Solo or co-op.
Because I think that could be a big part of it, that it just makes it that they don't put that in, because if you're playing solo, it's a lot more to keep track of. So I think this was written at a simpler level, but then I think anytime you're not doing solo play, that stuff should be included. Just because otherwise, it's not just a challenge of can I fight these guys?
We could pretty easily make a scenario generator for the game, and every piece of terrain should have a test, a couple of we roll and it's got 10 bad guys and 2 tests and whatever, something like that. That would be a neat thing to develop for it.
Well, that's like what I tried to do with my dungeon delve game. Is every special feature in that room you can go and interact with, and it could have a different outcome. Your interaction
every time.
Outcome every time, and I think this is very much run fight, where it would be. It just seems like you could build in pretty easily more stuff to do.
Yeah.
Well, especially because reading through the rules, it said, you've got our 15 skills or whatever. It says if you don't have any bonuses in it, just roll at a +0. So the implication is you can try any skill, but we tried no skills except for climbing, which wasn't even really set.
Scout, but they were all at the initial part of the scenario to make a condition happen or not, and then But it
Yeah.
would be cool. Every room has something.
Especially that there's stuff called acrobatics, climb, stealth, strength, swim, traps, which I thought would have been really cool. Like if they booby trapped half
Well,
of
they
these
did,
rooms.
remember? And then I used, instead of using traps, I used perception because I had a bonus to dodge it. So
Right, but that could have, like, those are all, like, active things that could just happen as you're walking.
I know, and through the thing, or avoiding things because of the different.
And then that leaves out like your arcanists and like other specialists that have read runes and cool navigation, like some really cool things that could be. If you don't have it in the scenario, then you're in a lot of trouble.
And if it's too much to handle during a combat because there's so much going on, you could have in between combats, right? Oh, you finish this combat, there's runes on the door. If you decipher it, this happens or this happens, right?
Or once the room's cleared.
Yeah, you could shove all of that.
Because that could have
like
been
the captain's log should have had a ancient lore or read runes. This tells you that three doors down, there's you did this. There is a secret door, and you read it on the wall, and you can get in that room and get the drop on them.
This does what it sets out to do. Fine. But it's not as ambitious as I kind of want it to be.
But I think a lot of that is not the game, but the scenarios. Because Neil just described. And taking these scenarios and making them awesome.
I'd be interested to see what he does with that. It doesn't sound like it's as much a scenario thing as more pieces to it.
Oh.
And something you just said that made me think of. So we know how bad guys work, right? But an interesting thing you said is, like in your game, each thing you walk in on the what was there, the altar in the one we did, right? Making a table, not a table, but a chart that has this and then deciphered this and then here's the bonus if you make it, here's the mess up. Something like that would be awesome in a game like this. So
especially I think because it's co-op, it would completely lend itself to that. Because it's solo co-op, you could have something that is even a little more deliberately paced, where you have all these skill checks that you can do and all these environmental pieces that you can interact with. And then it's not, you're not in a situation where everybody's just sitting around the table waiting for their turn kind of thing.
It should be when you're waiting for your turn, trying to figure out, like, okay, how are we going to handle this? Or this new event has happened. Or what about that? I can't wait to go over there.
Especially because there's the mechanic of the companions who are not near you doing stuff. Because if you have your arcanist, it's like, they need to read these runes to open this magic door, but they're going to go after the monsters. That could radically affect, we're in trouble because we didn't stay close enough to our companion because we're fighting, but they need to be doing this at the same time, and that would be another tactical thing that we didn't have to worry about.
Like you could even do interesting AI behaviors where, like, you had those two prisoners in the back of the room, and say you get to the point where there's only one knoll left. Maybe instead of him continuing to fight, he runs back and tries to kill the prisoners so that you can't rescue them.
So, and that's the other thing. I was trying to figure out, like, why does this is basically like early editions D&D, right? It's, you move and you attack. But I felt like with even the early editions D&D, you have more that's going on. And I think it's because in D&D, it's, the basic strategy is protect the wizard, right? He's only got 2 hit points, but he's got the sleep spell, right? So put the front line up, make sure nobody gets around to get to the wizard. And this, everybody's the same. All the rangers are pretty tough. There's no...
And I hate to be like a kind of a purist about this stuff, but it just is what I enjoy. Like, the Rangers, there's nothing. It very much like the fact that they can have spells and that they. It's like they're just kind of a catch-all character. They're not. There's nothing specific about them that makes them particularly interesting.
Did he do that so you can personalize them? Do you think?
Yeah, because you can have very different Rangers. Like
but I don't. Like,
I think
Ranger's
Rangers
a Ranger. He's not like a Ranger /
I think it's a job title.
That's the part, and I know I'm kind of a purist in that regard.
But
I wish he would have called it heroes, and then you can be a ranger, or you can be a battle wizard, or you could be the roguey guy.
I think the problem is that you said ranger, which is a class in Dungeons and Dragons.
And there's a mindset.
If these had been called wardens,
that could have been different.
They'd be like, or Guardians, something that shows that
Guardians
this is our job.
Guardians.
Yeah, then you're like, okay,
That'd have
cool.
been a great time.
Because I feel like my guy was very different than yours, and from what you guys did, also very different. We just didn't use a lot of our abilities except for healing.
Were they that different except for equipment and skills? I mean, the stat lines were very close.
That's fine, but special abilities.
But I guess I would have even liked the idea of even having more like archetypes, like a fighter or wizard, whatever. That the stat line was actually different,
Right?
depending
But
on what you chose.
I think the problem with that is because it's set up for solo play. If you do not play with a strong ranger character as a single player, you will lose. Based on how the game's set up.
I guess.
If you go in with a wizard by yourself...
But you go in with companions.
But
So you go with a wizard with some like strong
And then
henchmen.
like you said, you have your front
That's
line
true.
of guys
Right.
to block for the wizard.
Right.
That would be... Okay, that's a good point. That'd be pretty interesting to have like a guy in the back with a bunch of like henchmen men-at-arms trying to protect you.
Yeah, I feel a little hemmed in by the character that you have to play.
Right.